So how's you doing, man?
Blessed and highly favored. Can't complain.
Awesome, awesome. So, okay, in case for those of you who may be wondering who this young man is, this young man here is my son-in-law. And I have to tell you, he has really uh, 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 been a great example of a father. And of course, he didn't, when I first met him, he wasn't a father when I first met him. So how did he become my daughter-in-law? I mean, my son-in-law is obvious. He married one of my daughters, okay? So we just thank God for that because she got a good man. I'm going to say that right now. She got a good man. So listen, what I would like for you to do, Mr. Andrew Thomas, okay, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name is. All right, no problem. My name is Andrew Nathaniel Thomas. Uh, I'm the son of Alfred and Selena Thomas. I'm the grandson of Mary Louise Thomas. I'm the third of a tribe of three children who are descendants from my parents. I am a graduate from Florida A&M University.
Right.
Majored in pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences. I am a registered pharmacist. I am a husband now of a beautiful wife, Shantricia Thomas. Let's see. Uh, I have a new son. I'm the father to my son, Andrew Nathaniel Thomas II.
Right.
And that about wraps it up. So
Okay.
that's where I am. That's who I am.
Great, great, great.
Of course, I'm a man of God. My wife said man of God. I thought I threw that in there, but I'm a man of God.
No, we can't leave that out. We can't leave that out. Okay, so Mr. Thomas, okay, about as a young man, get into these questions, okay? As a young man, what is important to you when it comes to life?
All right, I got some notes here, so I'm gonna stick to my script. The most important thing to me is fulfilling God's purpose.
Okay.
So I think that we're all descendants from God's love. We were created out of love for a purpose to fulfill in the kingdom. I think in our day-to-day duties, we kind of get sidetracked. So my main objective is to make sure that the reason that God created me, that the purpose that He put in my spirit in this this temporary body is fulfilled. And that's in the actions, how I present myself as a man, as a husband, as a son, as a member of the church, specific, and the body in general. When people see me, when people look at me, do I amplify what God wanted? His greatest, His best? Am I one that's attentive and I want to say moldable? I think a lot of people, when they become adults, they get into a position where they think that whatever they are is what they're going to be, but I feel like that's not what God wanted us to aspire to. I think we can always transform. I think we can always be better, which means that you have to keep your eye and your ear open to wisdom, and you have to be able to receive wisdom, and that's my focus, to fulfill God's purpose in everything that I do.
All right, so that's what's important to you.
Absolutely.
When it comes to life, just fulfilling God's purpose. Yeah, that's a pretty good answer. That's what we were created. We were created for God's purpose. And everything, I'm a strong believer that everything that we do should be to glorify God. And that's the only way we can get the best out of life, is walking in the purpose in which God has designed and created us and instilled and imparted in us, okay? So listen, my next question I'd like to ask you, you might have already answered it, but anyway, but what impact do you as a person desire to have in life?
And it's a follow up to what I'm doing for my life. I want to help other people fulfill their purpose.
Okay.
I think that God gives us all the ability to discern talents. And if you see a talent in the individual, I think you should challenge that individual to awaken their purpose, because God gave them that talent specific to them for a reason. We all have different talents. As we know, the parable of talents, if you have multiple talents, you're required to use all of them. But if you only have one talent, you're not supposed to shield the world from that talent, hide it, and protect it. You're still supposed to use it, even if you just have one. So I think by leading by example, showing people how I use my talents and my skills, I think I would encourage, I try to encourage other people, especially young people, to utilize their talents well to fulfill this God's purpose to His glory. So
okay,
that's how I want to.
All right, good. If I may impart this, would you mind sharing with the audience how old you are?
Uh, well, let's see. Let's do a poll. How old do people think I am?
Well, let's say, let's be on the safe side since you didn't want to give us a number, but we can say you mid-30s, right? Can we say
Yeah, I'm
that?
mid 30. I'm
Okay,
35 years
mid-30s.
old. 30,
Huh?
absolutely.
All right.
35.
Okay,
Yeah.
35. All right, awesome. Now the reason I asked that question, okay, because again, the narrative has always been that our young men are out there doing crazy stuff. And you know pretty much what I'm saying. But I like the fact that even you as a young man, that your desire is to be an impact in other people's lives. In essence, I guess, to take what God has allowed you to, the knowledge, the information, the experience that you have gotten, to share with others, even other young men such as yourself or like yourself, okay? And I think that's what it's all about. Now, I'm a strong believer in the old saying, each one teach one. We don't know, we'll never know what impact that we can have on somebody's life. And that's one of the part of the reasons why I have really wanted to do this interview with you, because again, as I stated, I have watched you over the years, ever since, I guess, right out of high school. And I've just watched, I really admire the process that you had taken, the walk that you have walked along this journey to where you're at right now, okay? Let me see here. Yeah, well, leading up to my next question, okay, so what was the influence behind you preparing yourself for adulthood as a man, a husband, and a father? What was that influence?
Well, I had an unfair advantage. I had a loving father who raised me from, childhood into adulthood. I had a father who did not spare the rod. I had a father who was a should I say, a stern disciplinary. He showed me what it was to have male strength. He showed me what it was to be a protector of a family. He showed me what it was to still love Christ as a man. My father actually went to church with my family on Sundays. So it wasn't just like my mom was the only experience that I had with being a Christian influence. My father served on committees at the church. My father was an educator. So, just being in his classroom, oftentimes just knowing what my father did, knowing the impact that he had on people in the community. He taught at Martin Luther King Elementary in the city. And I had classmates who, had my father as a teacher, and, I could see their impact. Oh, your daddy was the truth. Your daddy don't play no games. Your father is a strong Black man. And, I had that as a testimony. So I know what it was to be a faithful Black man. I know what it was to be a hardworking Black man. I know what it was to be a Christian Black man. I know what it was to be a prosperous Black man. My father, had multiple hands in different diversities of business. He always felt like you need to manage yourself efficiently, not just from your 9 to 5, but you needed to have some type of entrepreneur aspects, producing fruits. You need to have multiple barrels of fruits coming in. Just the old sayings that my father taught me. You work smarter, not harder. A bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. So in other words, you move in life with whatever opportunities that you have in front of you. You don't wait on opportunities, because I think a lot of people make a mistake and wait on a specific opportunity and they pass up opportunities when the opportunity that you passed up was the bird in the hand. So
Right.
you have to be wise in life and use good discernment and capitalize on opportunities to become successful. So all of those things prepared me to be a good, loving father. Prepared me, God had given me to be a father. And it was unique because my father didn't have a father.
Right.
So yeah, I had a great example. I had a great example on what being a good father looked like. I mean, my father was always my role model because he was a hardworking man. Like I said, I know my father to have that primary job as an educator. He was he had his side hustles with his real estate properties. On top of that, he would work at the women's facility as a security guard. So, there was no bit of slacking on the amount of diligence that my father put into preparation for our success. So, it wasn't by luck that, you know, we prospered in life, it was by plan and action.
Come on.
Um,
I like that.
on top of the fact, yeah, on top of the fact that, you know, every Saturday, you know, me and my brother were always working on the properties. So, you know, we would cut all the yards, and we talking about acres on acres. So we would, you know, we would be working from sunrise to sunset. And at the time, you know, as a kid, I didn't realize what he was doing, but he was instilling a work ethic and the ability to know that you can do anything when it came to working. And, you know, we weren't shy to work because we had seen what hard work looks like.
Right.
So I think all of those principles are things that prepare.
So having a role model would made a difference then.
Absolutely, it's an unfair advantage, man. Anybody who has a image, because when you have an image, you can duplicate it, right?
Wow.
So the fact that God gave me a clear HD image of life, I was able to duplicate that and even put some sauce on it myself, you know. So that's what I did.
So, but why do you refer to it as unfair? Why do you refer to it as unfair?
Because everybody doesn't have that HD vision. Everybody doesn't have the best technology as far as seeing what success looks like. You know, some people look at it from, you know, a distorted lens, and my lens was clear. It was clear, you know. So because I had a clear lens, I could see the outcome my entire life. I knew what success looked like, so I can duplicate it. I knew the formula, the cheat code.
Well, you kind of answered my next two questions, especially as far as what type.
We'll go through them.
Oh, well, you pretty much said what type of man he was and the impact that he had on his life. You just wrapped it all up in one little bundle there. I mean, nicely presented. Nicely presented. Say it again.
No, we can go into a little bit more detail. We can go into a little bit more detail. Yeah, ask the question.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to my fifth question. Okay, so what impact did your father have in your life? Okay.
Okay, so what I realized, I'm gonna go this route. So what I realized about my father's impact was that whatever standards you put on your children, they will meet, right? Like all of my siblings and myself, we're not the same. You know, although we came from the same background, right? The same seed and womb, we all have different personalities.
Right.
And although I might consider myself easygoing, I can be a little
you could be Andrew.
Well, let's see. I'm not necessarily the easy person to flow into a system, right? So I'll give you some pushback. I'll give you some riff. I'm not rebellious.
Right.
You there? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm here.
So I'm not rebellious by any means, but I will give you a little pushback. You know, I'm definitely a wise, smart aleck type of individual. And then you have my brother, who I would say definitely is an independent thinker, you know, and then you have my sister, which was probably the perfect individual to conform into a system. So you got these three personalities, and you still got the same outcome out of everybody. And that's because we had standards. So, you know, in this household, like my father said, everybody goes to college, and that's what everybody did. So we didn't have an option. I think if you challenge your children, then you challenge those around you to not have options, then you only get one result. I think the problem is too many parents give options, you know, instead of giving direction. So I realized that I'm not gonna give my child option. I'm gonna give him direction, and he's gonna do what he need to do in this household.
That's good.
Now, when he gets on his own, you know, he could do it. He could create his own new system. But what you won't say is that you won't align with the vision that God gave me for you, you know, in my system. So I learned that's what I modeled after my father the most.
Man, that's good. That's good information, man. That's good to know. Okay, see, bro, you just such an intellectual brother, man, because the next question was, what plans do you have for your offspring? Now, before you go there, okay, I think I have, your wife sent me some pictures of you and your family. And let me see if I can pull them up here, okay, so that we can Everybody can see what you're working with over there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Bases loaded. Bases loaded.
All right, let's see what we can do here. Let's see here. All right, so that's you and my beautiful baby and the grandbaby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, everybody see that, right? Okay, there you go. All right, okay. So that's doing what this is the first Christmas, right? For the baby, right?
Yeah, that's first Christmas. He was born in he was 3 months, so he's born in September and now it's December.
Okay, okay. So is that him at 3 months old? All right, here's another one. Oh, y'all, you get it, he right there.
Oh yeah.
Hey, what's he looking at? It look like he got his attention on something else.
No.
Yeah. All right, and let's see here. There we go. Oh, all decked out for dolphins. Got on dolphin gear there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how old is he here?
That was during the Super Bowl. So what's that?
Okay.
January or February?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe
All right.
5 months, something like that.
All right. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, man. Well, listen, let me say this here. Okay, so one of the things that I admire about what you've done, okay, and that was that, you started. Okay, so when did you and my daughter started dating? Let's talk about that. Can we talk about that a little bit?
High school.
It
Yeah,
started
let's
in
do
high
it.
school.
High school sweetheart.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
what attracted us to each other was our purity. I think that she was always a devout Christian. I was always a devout Christian. She was a lady of class. The way that she carried herself, you definitely were blessed to be in her presence. Let's say that she didn't allow
Awesome.
too many brothers to speak to her. So she had an
Right.
elegance about herself and a discretion about herself that came from my mother-in-law that the other ladies didn't have. So you could see the value and the quality of this jewel. So when God blessed me with the opportunity, I knew that I had something special, and I knew that I was something special because a woman always is a representation of a man.
Come on,
So
man.
I knew for God to give me His best, that means that God felt like I was His best, and I had an opportunity to manifest God's glory. So, we started in high school as friends. Then after that, we both saw that we had a love for Christ, so we had a commonality. We both saw that we believed in marriage, and we both saw that we were devoted to making a relationship last. We knew that God had to be in the centerfold of every relationship for it to build and for it to manifest, for it to grow. And that's what we did. I actually attended her church quite frequently. She attended my church quite frequently. As you know, your dad baptized both of us.
Right. Right.
So just seeing the love that she had from Central Faith, I knew that I was in the right place. And a woman that knew the Holy Spirit was a blood-bought woman. And then, our relationship led to marriage, and we are where we are now. But even still, we don't deviate from the basics. We still
Right.
share that love for Christ. We still study the Word together. We still focus on the purpose that God has for our relationship and the purpose that God has now in this new format to be parents and to lead our son by example and to make sure that he
Good.
flourishes and manifests all the glory that God has for him.
That's good, man.
That's
So
it.
you dated through high school, you dated through college.
Right.
Okay. What I loved about you as I watched you mature over the years, and the reason that I say you did it, not only did you just do it the right way, but you did it God's way. Okay, because you and your wife, even as you so before you guys got married, so how many years did you date, if I can say that?
Yeah, 'cause we met in high school, right? So that was in 2000 and I would say 2002. We were together our senior year, 2003, and then 2012. So that was what 2012 we got married. So 10 years.
About 10 years. 10 years.
Right.
So you went through school,
Mhm.
high school, college. Then even once you finish college, you know, you establish yourself as a working man. Okay. You got a house. Well, first of all, you got an
Yeah.
apartment. All right. And
Correct.
then you got married. Is that how it went? Am I right?
No, no, sir.
No. So
Nope.
you
You're
got
wrong.
married
We
first.
got we got
No.
got married. Got the apartment. Got the
Okay.
house.
Then you got the house.
And then
Then you got the baby.
got house. No, got the house. Got houses.
Got houses,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. We wanted to make sure that we found created a real strong foundation financially to
Right.
be able to support the quality of life that a child required. Um, you know, my childhood was lacking from nothing because my parents were prepared to have kids. So my parents had kids around the same age that we had our son. And it makes the world of difference as far as financial preparation, right? Financial strength to be able to provide all of the opportunities in life that are required, unfortunately, by finances, right? So, I mean, the Bible talks about the talents. It talks about financial and your actual tangible talents. But it's important that you have a foundation to build your family on so that you can have the resources necessary to continue to grow and compound whatever wealth God gives you. And that's what we did. We wanted to make sure that we had a strategy in place. We wanted to make sure that we eliminated all student debts. We wanted to make sure that we had a war chest of financial fortitude, multiple streams of income, portfolio assets, so that, you know, when it came time to utilizing that resource to provide opportunities for our kid, we could do that. And that's what we did.
That's good, man. That's great. You know, the reason that I asked that question, and again, going back to the point that I was making, was that I watch you really, first of all, establish yourself as a man. Okay, that's the first thing. Even though you was in this relationship, you know, with your wife, but the first thing that was important to you is that you establish yourself as a man. I saw you do those things that was necessary to establish a foundation of wealth. Okay. And because, listen, well, short of the long, I commend you because you did it the right way. And I cannot say enough about that. All right. Now, but I want to make this other point because I think it's very important to a lot of young men and a lot of young women out there. Okay. And that was the fact that you and my baby girl, you all waited till you was married before you consummated this relationship, correct?
Yeah. Yes, correct.
All right. And that's important, man. That's important. That's doing it God's way.
Well I think what people fail to realize is that you don't want to put it's an old term, you probably understand it, preacher. What's that? The horse or the buggy before the horse, right?
Cart before the horse.
And the reason for that is,
the horse.
Boom, there you go. And the reason for that is, I'll take a prime example when I was in pharmacy school. And one of my classmates, he was like, man, if I would have known what it really took to be a pharmacist, I would have never ventured into being a pharmacist. Right? Okay. But we only had little bits. So they would give us class by class, semester by semester. And he was compounding upon this very hard and very rigorous curriculum into becoming a pharmacist. And he would just take it one semester at a time, one semester at a time, one semester at a time, one semester at a time.
Okay.
Same thing with your relationship. You need to take it one stage at a time, one stage at a time. When people skip and they get right to the end, they don't appreciate the journey. And now you say, you know what? It takes all of that to keep this individual. I don't want it. But if you would have done all of that diligence, all of that curriculum, all of that hard work, once you get to the end and you realize what it really takes to keep this individual, You like, man, I ain't turning back, because you still got to do the same process with anybody else. That's what people got to realize. So if you're gonna do the process once,
Yeah,
get it right once, and
oh
be
man,
happy. You know, so that's what we learned, that it's no short of hard work in any relationship. Not with a father, not with a grandparent, not with a sibling, not with a spouse, not with God. It's no short of hard work. You gotta work at the result that you
that's
deserve.
great, man. That's great. You sound like a wise young man.
Well, I thank God, because it's funny. Everybody has information, but not everybody has revelation. So
Revelation. That's
if you
good.
don't have revelation, then you just need to ask God for the wisdom and the revelation to understand things.
That's great.
And I think a lot of our people, a lot of our Christians fail to receive that wisdom because they don't ask. And
Wow.
God wants us to ask for continued clarity and continued wisdom, and He will give it to you. So if you don't have it, it's because you're not asking.
That's what it said in James. It says that in James, definitely. So listen, one more question. So what plans do you have, for the future of Mr. Andrew Jr. and others,
Oh,
I guess?
his expectations are way up here, man. I
All
mean,
right.
his expectations are through the roof. You talking
All
about
right.
a young man who has a father that's a doctor. You talking about a mother that's a master. You talking about grandparents that are specialists, grandparents that are entrepreneurs. Um, I expect for him to be able to literally walk on water. Like I don't want him to have a perception or a concept of what anybody thinks, right? So God gave a man the capacity to build planes. He gave a man the capacity to create a telephone, the capacity to create electricity. These are all wonders that God instilled in individuals to perform His glory. So
Awesome.
those same capabilities are still here, but we don't tap into God's power. So I expect my son to be able to tap into God's power to be able to do what's necessary to get God's glory on this earth. And I don't want him to do it in a traditional format. Now I do expect him to, exponentially succeed in things that we see, like education. That's fine, but I don't expect him to be an employee. I expect my son to be a serial entrepreneur like his grandparents. I expect my son to uh, be a wealth manager, if not a hedge fund manager. I expect him to understand economics and the economy to a level that I wasn't given access to, because I didn't know I needed access to, but I know he needs access to it. So
Right.
I think, if anything, I want him to be a bank, right? I want him to produce opportunities for other people, and I want him to be able to provide for his people and to be accessible, right? Because it makes no sense that you're this level of success, but then people can't approach you
Right.
to do God's work because
Right.
you hoard the wealth. So, the first aspect is to understand the wealth. And then the next aspect is, just like any bank, to distribute the wealth for God's glory so that other people can expand and compound and be successful using the talents that God gave them. You become their resource. So that's what
Man,
I
that's
expect.
great information, man. That's great information. Well, we're going to wrap this up. You got any final thoughts that you'd like to share with the audience?
No, I mean, one thing I would say, I realized that, in having kids, it's the greatest revelation of why you work. As a young man, I thought that I worked to just get wealth, but I understand that now I work to transfer wealth, right?
Wow.
So even the assets that I have, they're not my assets, they're my son's assets. They're the next generation's assets. I'm just a steward now. So now I've transformed into the real steward aspect of being able to help him to understand that this is all his wealth and he needs to be a diligent king like I was when it's time to rule. So that's it.
Man, that's great. Hey, listen, I got to bring you back. I'm going to bring you back because this is
Anytime.
it's something you're tapping into that I think is so very important to our people, period. And that's on the subject of finance, okay? And really establishing that form of wealth that you need so that you don't have the struggle that you may be well, other people or other families or other cultures, whatever, how you want to phrase it, might be experiencing. And I think that, in our conversation, we've had a lot of conversation regards that. And I think you have something to share, man. I think you have something to say. I certainly appreciate you coming on, taking the time out of your very busy schedule and to partake in this moment, this time with me. But thank you so much and for being a guest on the Father's Note. And we'll be talking soon, man. God bless you, man. Love you, man.
Love you too.
Okay. Just again.